Yeah, I'm gonna be kind of cringe in this video because I'm excited. It happens! That's what happens when you make videos about things that you just get excited about. So I apologize for all the cringe overload you're gonna be getting in this video. But the Vancouver Canucks just defeated the Dallas Stars in regulation in Dallas. This game, I can't even verbally explain how wild this game was. It wasn't against Minnesota, it was against Dallas, but holy crap. Holy! You had to have seen it. You had to have seen every minute of that game, especially in the third period, to really feel and connect with me right here, because that period, oh my goodness, that was the craziest period of hockey I've seen in years. Like, going back to that Colorado-Vancouver game where Pettersson and Boeser were going off and the Canucks won in overtime or something like that. I don't know, the game with the Sedin goal, the off-the-boards one. That's kind of the last time I feel I had been this amped up and hyped up from a period of hockey, aside from, of course, the playoff victories and all that, but those don't really count. There are some other stakes built into those intrinsically with their setting. But for a regular season game, this was one the Vancouver Canucks needed. The Dallas Stars were, before the start of the game, ahead by Vancouver in the points race by 4 points. They also have 3 games in hand, so right away you can see just how everything aligns with the playoff race. Vegas was in that wildcard spot from earlier today because they won against Chicago, oddly enough. How the heck did they come back and defeat Chicago after being down 3-0? But either way, Dallas no longer in the playoffs technically because of the Vegas win earlier tonight. They're still in because of points percentage, but via cold hard points they were out. Ahead of Vancouver in the standings, though, and this was a very good game for Vancouver to really define what it was the direction of their season was heading towards. Because John Shorthouse said it in the broadcast, the Vancouver Canucks heading into tonight's game against Dallas had an 11%-ish chance of making the playoffs, mathematically considering. If they won in regulation, which they did, those chances go up to 17%. If the Canucks lose, those chances go down to 6%. And so this was make or break. You want to talk about Detroit, you want to talk about the Calgary game, all these other games being the make or break games of the season. Well, they kind of revived themselves with the win against Colorado and then the OT loss against Minnesota. But this game right here against Dallas, boy, oh boy, there was only really like one prime mistake out there on the ice that I want to label, and that was the one that Alex Chason had. We'll get to that later in the video. You could say that the Canucks were not great defensively, which I definitely would agree with, because of how many grade A opportunities Thatcher Demko and his new best friend, the right post, had to go out there and stop. But in general, if you include goaltending in the conversation, the Vancouver Canucks had a very strong game. And I know 4-1 as the final score might sound, oh, they won 4-1, they won by 3. What do you mean, Lego? This is a crazy game? Yeah, it was only 3-1 for like 10 seconds, and then it became 4-1, and that was in the last minute of the game. Like, this was a tight one, despite the fact that the score was 4-1. And it all starts out in the first period, when Thomas Harley gets himself a cross-crease pass that goes right off the post. Now, admittedly, I thought, oh, was that in? It kind of looked like it was in, and then the goal horn sounded, and I was like, oh, crap, it was in. And then they reviewed it, and no, it wasn't in, it was off the post. But quick start for the Dallas Stars in this one, getting themselves a grade A opportunity that Mr. Right Post himself makes the stop on. Thatcher Demko makes even more brilliant saves as the game goes on. Radulov had a rebound chance that he pounced on where he barely sweeps the puck wide, but he knocks Demko's mask off in the process. You had Jamie Benn, who had himself an opportunity wide out in front, where off a rebound he gets the puck free, nobody else is on him, and he tries to shove it in on the far side, but he mishandles it, so he takes an extra second to corral the puck, and that extra second is enough for Thatcher Demko to come over and get him with the pad. Ben could have easily scored that if he didn't fumble it, but this first period was Thatcher Demko making a crap ton of saves off of screens and rushes. I did notice the screen actually be a primary tool that the Dallas Stars used. The Canucks had some shots, but just in general, they were getting outchanced by Dallas. In the second period, you had yourselves what was Travis Dermott making himself a play that we saw on the Maple Leafs highlight reel when he got traded to Vancouver in the first place, where it's a 2-on-1, it's a very clear chance. Tyler Seguin has the puck on the right side, Travis Dermott is the man back, and as Seguin fakes the shot, Dermott goes down. Dermott then squeaks his stick, and he wraps it around his body to cover up the passing lane, and he cleanly intercepts the Seguin centering attempt. Very, very aware and smart play there made by Mr. Travis Dermott. Give it a few minutes and we then see what I'm going to call foreshadowing. Because Elias Pettersson has the puck in the offensive zone and he tries to dangle his way right through the middle and get himself a primary look towards the goal. He dangles a guy, forces himself right at the hash marks, and takes a shot. It goes off Oettinger's shoulder. I wrote down in my notes, this is what we need to see, Petey. We need to see these shots, the confidence to take them. And boy, oh boy, do we see that later on in the game. Before that, though, Quinn Hughes kept the puck in at the blue line, threw it out in front. It's JT Miller who picks it up and throws it over to Garland for a one-timer that goes off the post on an open net. Oettinger didn't have the angle. Pearson on the rebound can't put the puck into the open cage, and the Vancouver Canucks give up the next chance. It's Quinn Hughes behind his own net who throws it up the wing. It reaches Chason in the neutral zone, and Chason fumbles it. He plays it back into his own zone. The Stars were still in the Canucks zone, but because it was Chason who played it in, it's not offside. Eventually, Jacob Peterson gets the puck right in front and backhands it in by Demko. It's 1-0 Dallas off of a play where Vancouver very easily could have been up by one had Garland just not gone off the post. And if Chason just didn't make a boneheaded decision to play it back. This is 5 minutes into the second period, and it's 1-0. Now, at the halfway mark of the game, so 10 of the second period, I kind of say here in my notes, the Canucks aren't playing poorly. There are just a whole bunch of quality chances either way. Both defenses aren't really playing the best in this game. Lots of turnovers and lots of giveaways. And lots of big saves. You had Luke Glendening who got a breakaway. Demko makes the save. Pearson had a shot, a loose rebound in front. JT Miller can't put in the loose puck. Eventually, it's Hakanpää who gets the penalty on that same play, and it's the first power play of the night with 4:50 left to go in the second period. Right off the bat, it's one over to the side. Miller gets the puck in his comfort zone. He throws it over to Hughes. Hughes to Petey. One-timer, scores. He blasts it up and away, right through Jake Oettinger, and it's 1-1. We haven't seen a classic Elias Pettersson one-time rip in weeks, and we finally see it here. Oh boy, let's go. Elias Pettersson ties the game. But eventually the Canucks get a power play. It's Shen to the box for taking out Pavelski. This was killed, but Horvat and Pettersson had a 2-on-1 shorthanded. Bo went over the net, unfortunately. The third period starts, and this is where Pettersson comes to play. Because immediately picking the puck up in the Canuck zone, he decides, I'm just going to go for a skate. I'm going to take it because I got some space right here. I see that Ryan Suter pinched in and Joe Pavelski is the defenseman covering for Suter. And because he's not a natural defenseman, I'm just going to take this puck down the middle. I'm going to cut over to the right side. I'm going to cut in on Pavelski, getting closer because he's not poke-checking me. And then I'm going to snipe it far side. Elias Pettersson snipes it right through the wickets of Joe Pavelski, and it goes all the way in by Jake Oettinger. It's 2-1 early. And Elias Pettersson adds on. It's a Peterson, it's a Pettersson, it's a Pettersson. Those are the 3 goals scored in the game up to this point. Eventually, there is another penalty for Vancouver. It's Juho Lammikko. He trips a guy. Pettersson and Horvat got another 2-on-1 shorthanded, and Pettersson, instead of trying to go for the hat trick, he passes it to Horvat. This penalty was killed, and the action continued afterwards. You had a few things here and there. Chason went off the post. There was a Radulov penalty for holding the stick. The Canucks looked really good on the power play for this one, but they just couldn't convert. But then Brock Besser gets a penalty for getting his stick up on Pavelski after the Stars get a 2-on-1. And this power play for Dallas was the dagger. And I say that for them because, oh my goodness, the first amazing save. It's Demko robbing Esa Lindell, who has the puck right on the side of the goal after a rebound, and Demko comes up with the scorpion save. He gets the right pad up, and he stops the puck right on the goal line while airborne. This was fantastic. Thatcher Demko thanking his lucky stars, those long legs of his, making the stop on the power play. Demko loses his stick, the Stars keep the puck, and then there's an open chance for Lindell again. Demko is way out of position, Lindell has an open net to shoot at, and he whiffs it. He goes off the post. John Shorthouse is losing his voice as he commentates on this. It's so hype, and JT Miller, towards the end of this shift, gets a breakaway, and he doesn't shoot. He completely fumbles the puck, and he loses the possession. Dallas comes back because they're still within one. Sagan has a shot and a rebound, and there's a post right there that the Stars hit again, Nemesnikov in tight. The Canucks then get a face-off in their own zone with Dallas pulling the goalie. After a few attempts at the empty net, it's Bo Horvat who gets it right at the blue line. It's in, it's 3-1, and I can't verbally express how relieving it was to see that goal go in, and thus I can't verbally express how cathartic it was to see Luke Schenn, after a scrum in the offensive zone with like 30 seconds left in a 2-goal game, just throw it on net. Miller with the tip. It gets awkwardly saved by Oettinger, and then Miller right there in the rebound puts it in. It's 4-1. 2 goals in the span of less than like 20 seconds or whatever it was. 2 goals in the final 2 minutes of the game. It's 4-1 Vancouver, and they win in regulation. Tell me miracles aren't real. The Dallas Stars went out there and they lost in regulation to the Vancouver Canucks. And look, to be honest, I feel like Vancouver and Dallas were pretty equally matched when it comes to how well they were able to control the puck and get their chances. It's just the quantity of chances, I think, favored Dallas in this one. And Demko, being the scorpion that he is, ultimately was a big, big determining factor here too. So, I'm losing my voice. I've got one more video to pre-record for the weekend before we head out on our trip. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and hopefully recover my voice over the weekend. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Vancouver Canucks beating the Dallas Stars 4-1 in regulation. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.